wake up after a night under the stars, ready for your first voyage into the outer wilds. After obtaining the launch codes, you have an odd encounter with a statue. Ride the elevator and board your rickety wooden spacecraft. You have no real destination in mind. Maybe you'll visit the nearby Adel Rock, the ever-crumbling Prahlow, or the ocean depths of Giant's Deep. Ultimately, you head for the Ember Twin, eager to explore its winding caverns. After the first of many graceful landings, you begin your trek into the caves. You trudge around in the dark, with only your flashlight to guide you. After completing your spelunking, you emerge on the surface, careful not to get swallowed by the ever-rising sands. A campfire on the pole draws your attention. You fly over to find Chert. Chert? This guy. Happily playing his bongos. Although he keeps blabbing on about supernovas. Probably not important. You sit by the fire for a while. After all, there's no rush, right? As you pellet your marshmallows, the sun begins to rumble. To your horror, it begins collapsing inwards until it explodes violently. You can do nothing but watch until you and everything else are consumed. Everything goes white until memories begin flashing before you. You had heard of such a thing occurring upon death, but this seemed a little extreme. Then suddenly, you wake up. You find yourself staring at the exact same view you had earlier that day. Was it all a dream, you pondered to yourself? And does it have anything to do with that strange statue? Once again, you set out for the outer wilds, this time towards Giant's Deep. You explore the mysterious construction yard where the planet's oddly shaped satellite was supposedly built. You blast off to investigate, successfully landing on the satellite in orbit. You explore the control module until you're greeted by the same rumbling. You turn your attention to the sun as it begins to collapse and explode. The sun is going supernova, and once again, you're caught in its destruction. You wake up for the third time and realize that it was no dream. You're caught in some form of time loop, a loop that ends with the death of the solar system. For once, your goal is clear: stop the time loop, save the universe. Many loops later, you find yourself inside the ancient sunless city. The Nomai writings hint at a structure known only as the Sun Station. Many concerns revolved around it, including the potential destruction of the solar system. You examine the intricate designs of the towers on the Ash Twin, isolating the tower that corresponds to the Sun Station. You cleverly utilize the falling sand to avoid becoming a pincushion. You stand on the pad and look up. When the sun aligns, the warp activates. You re-emerge in a mysterious hallway. You climb the gravity panels and open the hatch door. You make a heroic leap of faith and land gracefully in the Ever module. You eagerly explore and locate more Nomai writings. The text explains the Sun Station's purpose: to cause the sun to go supernova and power the Ash Twin project. This is it, you think excitedly. Now all I have to do is turn it off. You search around but see no clear controls. You come across more Nomai text, confident that it will explain how to operate the station. You begin to read, and your heart sinks. The Sun Station is useless, it reads. It will never, and could never, cause the sun to explode. Confusion clouds your mind. If the station's not responsible, then what is? You inspect the station logs and your heart drops further. Star has reached the end of its natural life cycle. You can't believe what you're reading. Nothing external is causing the sun to explode, and nothing you can do can stop it. Also, the station will be destroyed in less than 3 minutes, so you should probably run. Reluctantly, you continue your investigation of the Nomai in the following loops. You obtain the coordinates for the Eye of the Universe from the tracking module in the core of Giant's Deep. You locate the vessel deep within Dark Bramble. And finally, you locate the tower that will warp you into the Ash Twin project. Inside you find more text that summarizes what you already know. However, you also find a warning. Removing the core will disable the Ash Twin project. You throw the switches and the central core opens up. Before you rest the goal from the beginning, the key to stopping the time loop, you approach the core. And you hesitate. Stopping the time loop won't stop the supernova. The solar system, including all your friends, will still be destroyed. You realize you have a choice. Remove the warp core, travel to the vessel, and complete the Nomai's journey of locating the eye. Or, leave the core where it is and keep the loop alive. Sure, you will have to live the same loop repeatedly, perhaps forever, but it is the only way to survive the death of the universe. You leave the Ash Twin project, taking a second to marvel at your incredible parking spot. You return to the pole of the Ember Twin to join this guy for the end of another loop. As you pull out your marshmallows and gaze up at the sun, it begins to collapse. You can't help but recall the first loop where you witnessed a supernova from this very same spot. Although this time you're surprisingly calm. The fear you felt the first time was absent, and in its place, you feel peace. For the first time in hundreds of loops, you notice just how beautiful the colors of the supernova are. You wake up one last time, and know what you must do. You travel to the Ash Twin project, and without hesitation, remove the warp core. You travel deep within Dark Bramble, careful to avoid the giant fish monsters. You board the vessel, insert the core, enter the coordinates, and with a deep breath, engage the warp drive. When you re-emerge, the eye rests before you. You take a moment to appreciate its beauty, but then a glimmer captures your attention. You know what you are looking at. You stand there, alone, as you watch your solar system die for the final time. You warp onto the surface and begin your trek to the pole. Eventually, you find yourself standing above an endlessly deep hole. You should be afraid, but you're not. There was no turning back, as there is nothing left to return to. With another deep breath, you fall into the pit. Many confusing things happen next. You find yourself in a museum, then flying through space, then in a strange wood of all your friends and those damn fish again. None of it makes much sense, but there is nowhere to go but forwards. Eventually you all gather around the campfire for one last song as you watch the new universe begin to take shape before you. You may be sad that your story is over, but you take peace in knowing that the new universe's story is about to begin. That was but one example of a player's story, yet this game is immensely clever in how it lets the player find their own journey. Outer Wilds uses humans' natural curiosity and desire for control to guide players on a false quest, to stop the supernova. Only after learning that this is not within their control can the player truly learn to accept that this is in fact not the goal of the game, but quite the opposite. The hatchling does not save a universe, they aid in creating a new one. I'm not the first to say this, and I probably won't be the last, but Outer Wilds manages to challenge the notion of what a video game can be. The story of Outer Wilds could not work in any other medium. The theme of acceptance is not told through the story itself, but in how the player learns it through their unique journey. Other games have tried to capture this player-driven storytelling, to varying degrees of success, but most miss the point. They feel more like you are making decisions on behalf of another character, instead of feeling like you are the character. But in Outer Wilds, the hatchling is you. You're free to forge your own path, to make mistakes. Many mistakes. And to learn from them too. You have no superpowers, you're just a regular old life form who happened to be standing in the right place at the right time. Which is also a recurring theme of this game now that I think about it. The fate of the universe is in your hands, and you can let it play out when, and only when, you're ready.